East the Matthews family had been planning the vacation for months. They were excited about the opportunity to explore a new city and take a break from their busy lives. And suddenly they see that the road is blocked by a large tree. And Jim gets out of the car to inspect the road. At this moment, a flock of crows begins to circle above them. The family gets back into the car and wants to find another road. They arrive at a small town, had no idea that their vacation would turn into a nightmare. The day before, Sheriff Boyd Stevens rang the bell before sunset to warn everyone. Everyone locked themselves in their houses before dark. But at night, a monster in the guise of an old grandmother comes to one of the houses. She stands in front of the window of the room, the girl, and begins to persuade her to open the window. The girl opens the window, and immediately the monster kills the girl and his mother. Sam and the Matthews family passes the cemetery. The sheriff and the townspeople are burying the victims of last night. The sheriff tells everyone not to say anything yet to the new victims. Jim wants to ask for directions, but no one answers. And the sheriff shows Jim the way, and he gets on his van and continues on his way. The sheriff and his deputy wait until they realize that there is something wrong. After 3 laps, Jim and Tabitha start to panic, and suddenly a car comes out on the opposite side of the road and they have an accident. The sheriff sees that they have been gone for a long time and guesses that something is wrong with them. When the sheriff finds them, he sees that the family is stuck in the car. He first pulls out Jim's daughter, Julie. Then, with the help of those who arrive from the town, they take Tabitha and free Jim. But Jim's son, Ethan, is stuck. Local doctor Christy Miller comes into the van to help the boy. Boy tells Jim that it will soon get dark. It's better for them to leave the town and take refuge there. Tabitha and her daughter leave, but Jim remains with his son. Kenny is a deputy sheriff. Ellis is Boyd's son, Guthrie's father, and the 3 rescued in a pickup truck quickly. They reach the town but are caught in a trap set by the sheriff and his deputy, and the car tires are punctured. They quickly get out of the car and run to another colony nearby, which is headed by Donna Raines. Boyd does his best to organize the security of the van and hangs an amulet that will seal their houses from monsters. Where he has hanged this amulet, monsters cannot enter there unless it is open to them. In the darkness, Boyd sees the approaching monsters. Of the new arrivals don't understand what's going on. They approach the building. People at first don't want to open the door. At that moment, Julie sees monsters. Donna opens the door and they go inside. Donna explains to Tabitha that everything that was not believed before really exists, meaning monsters. Tabby finds it hard to believe at first, but Donna tells her everything she needs to know. Sarah Myers, a diner worker, lives in the city with her brother Nathan. She suffers from hallucinations that force her to kill other residents of the settlement. She kills a man at a local clinic and rips off the amulet so that the monsters can enter there, and there is Kenny's father, Keon Lou, and Gina, a nurse. Dana wants to check on a male patient, but sees that he is dead and the door is open where there are monsters. The next day, Kenny comes to see his father, but finds the dead body of the nurse and father. Meanwhile, Ethan is saved. Boyd managed to protect the van with the help of an amulet. Tabitha sees the monsters she saw last night in a dream. Jade Herrera, a wealthy software developer, wakes up in the middle of the night, W.E. Tehu, who arrives in the settlement on the same day as the Matthews family. As the day of arrival, he took something. Because of this, he was passed out. In the morning, everything is explained to him, but he does not believe a single word of Donnie and decides that his friend played a prank on him. He takes the girl's bike and begins to look for answers. He thinks that this is all a show, a joke from a friend. Jade finds a dungeon and goes there, where he begins to see terrible things. He stumbles and sees some kind of drawing on the ceiling. Victor, the oldest member of the colony, who in his youth was trapped in the city, everyone avoids him. Ethan sees a boy in white in his dream. When Victor checks his notes, he writes everything down here and knows a lot about this place from everyone. Ethan asks what he's doing. Victor doesn't want to talk sleepy, but when Ethan asks about the boy in white, Victor is surprised and begins to answer Ethan's questions. because he also sees this boy. Father Guthrie shows the settlement to Jim and Tabitha. Seeing the strange formation, they ask about it. Father Guthrie explains to them what it is seems to be a punishment for those who violated their laws with sad consequences, but they have not yet used it until this day. The meaning is that the culprit is left there at night without an amulet to be torn apart by monsters. It is not easy for Boyd to leave Frank there, who lost his wife and daughter through his own fault. Because he was not at home, he drank a lot and stayed in the bar, because of which he was not at home on the night of the tragedy and did not fix the windows from where the monster climbed into the house. He gives Frank the amulet and tells him to leave the forest and live there alone. Father Guthrie explains to Boyd, what if he doesn't punish Frank, then no one will be afraid of the laws that they established to maintain order in the town. Before sunset, everyone gathers for the new arrivals to choose where to live next. The city or in the colony that Donna heads. Frank, with the amulet on his hand that Boyd gave him to save him from monsters, comes there, gives the amulet back to Boyd and says that this place has changed him and he is to blame for his family and must answer. At this moment, Jade thinks that this is a joke, laughing at Frank. Boyd, unable to cope with his anger, forcibly drags Jade away so that he can choose where to live next. Kenny takes Jade to the cemetery to show his friend's pipes. Seeing his friend, it finally dawns on him that all this is not a performance. Matthew's family, they choose a city for their daughter. Julie chooses the colony, Donna. Everything has already been decided. The night approaches and Boyd sees Frank to the box, leaves him there, and leaves. At night, monsters come and kill Frank. In the morning, Boyd comes to the box and sees Frank's crushed body. Ethan and his father go. The diner has breakfast. Jim goes to the clean room, and then Victor comes to Ethan, shows a drawing that he drew of a boy in white. Ethan recognizes the boy. At that moment, Jim returns and kicks Victor out of the diner. Victor was not always so mysterious as a child. Before his eyes, monsters killed all the inhabitants, even his parents. After that, he became so withdrawn. Jim takes Ethan and they return home. Victor also goes to them and takes Ethan back to go find the boy. Victor tells Ethan that he hasn't seen the boy for a long time, even thought that he saw him in a dream. Now Victor leads Ethan to the forest and shows the tree. The journey throws a stone there and the stone comes back. Victor says that even people can get in there, but you never know where to send the tree or get stuck there. Jim and Tabitha, they go back to the house, and Ethan is not at home. They start looking for him, and suddenly the dogs appear and surround them. At this moment, Victor shoots into the air, and the dogs run away. Victor had a gun, so Jim doesn't do anything since Victor could shoot. Jim comes to Boyd and warns him about what happened. Boyd says that he will sort everything out. Boyd invites Jim and his family to dinner to get to know them better. Sarah suddenly serves them. An inscription appears on Sari's hand that she must kill Ethan, and she faints. Jade lives with Kenny with her mother Shang Wu. Jade cannot calm down. He believes that there is an explanation for all this. He leads Kenny to the dungeon where he saw a drawing on the ceiling. Suddenly, when they're talking with Kenny, he sees that the walkie-talkie has turned on for himself. He takes the walkie-talkie and runs away from there. Jade enters the bar after talking with the bartender, Tom. Jade solves his problem to solve this puzzle. He first needs to find out where they are. If he finds out, then there will be a chance from there to escape. Jim is also concerned about questions, and he invites Tabit and Ethan to write questions on the wall to find answers together. Sarah is better, and she leaves the hospital. Her brother Nathan knows about his sister, but Sarah does not want to talk about it. Nathan decides to tell everything to Father Guthrie. Hearing Nathan, they quickly begin to look for Sarah. Meanwhile, Sarah takes Ethan to the barn to look at the animals, and Tabitha goes with them. Sarah pushes Tabitha into the barn, the place where people used to hide, and closes the door. And she goes to kill Ethan, as the voices in her head told her. At this moment, Nathan comes. He holds Sarah. She accidentally scalpel hand cuts Nathan's neck, and he dies. Sarah runs into the forest Jim finds. Tabitha and Nathan is also in order. He cannot calm down. He begins to collect spare parts to make an antenna. He comes to Jim for help. Jim is an amusement ride engineer and also understands electronics. The two of them come to Jade's car to take the spare parts from the car that they need. Now, the two of them assemble the antenna. Jim climbs a tree to hold the antenna higher. At this moment, Jade again has a vision. Frightened, he runs in behind him is an old soldier. Frightened, Jade falls to the ground. With the help of Jim, he comes to his senses. Having raised Jade, frightened, he moves away from there. Jim comes back to the tree and tries to contact someone, something, but no answer. Guthrie's father keeps Sarah tied up in the basement of the church. He asks about the voices she hears, like Sarah suddenly becomes ill. She asks Guthrie Steve for paper so she can draw what the voices should tell her. She tells Guthrie about the bag that he hid when got there. Rather, Guthrie is shocked because no one except him is in this. Meanwhile, Sheriff Boyd is also preparing to go on a hike to find some way out of this place. He comes to Kenny and tells him about his plan and says that he will be calm if he knows that Kenny will look after the settlement when he is not there. Father Guthrie at night comes to the sheriff to tell him about what happened. When he says that he is keeping Sarah in the basement, Boyd aims a pistol at Guthrie's father, but Guthrie's father explains to him that she is connected to this place and can help them. When Jim returns home to see that Ethan is dragging a bucket from the basement full of sand, he goes down the basement and there he sees that Tabitha is dripping a hole to find where the wires lead. They see that inside the plug is empty and the plugs are not in working condition, but the light is on. This is some kind of nonsense. Their house looks like everything is not real here for a toy house. Fatima Hassan, a friend of Ellis and one of the residents of the colony. Donna congratulates Fatima her anniversary, on making it to the colony. Everyone is celebrating and having fun. One of the inhabitants of the colony is in love with a monster, a woman. She comes to the window and says that she won't come anymore because he doesn't let her in. The man says that if you open the window, she should come in. She gives the words and he opens the window when they hug. The monster kills the man. Opens the window. The monsters all come inside and start killing everyone. And the people who entered the building begin to run in panic. Victor knew that this moment would come and was preparing. Before it all started, Julie went into Victor's room to sit there. Victor, hearing the screams, quickly opens the windows and throws the rope to go down. Victor tells Julie that first she must go down, and then Julie wants to go to the others, but Victor does not let her in and says that she must go to the forest. Julie goes into a tree and comes out to another place. Donna brings the inhabitants of the colony to the town. Boyd and Father Guthrie are sitting in the station and hear the signal from the cars. When they get out, they see a car full of people from the colony. Everyone goes inside, but one of the monsters manages to hit Father Guthrie. The wounded Guthrie is dragged inside and dies in the hands of Sheriff Guthrie. Kenny comes to the sheriff so that he can calm down the people. Everyone is unhappy and scared. The sheriff is also confused because he lost his friend and interlocutor. He remembers how Guthrie's father saved him and his family on the first day they got here. Boyd and his wife were military men and told all sorts of things. But Uni was also shocked by what he saw on the first morning. Bodies were scattered everywhere, mutilated corpses. Boyd began to organize a supply network, and his wife was responsible for the safety of people. Ellis one day asked his father not to go on attacks because Abby Boyd's wife is not all right. But Boyd promises that there are still 4 hours before it gets dark and that he will return to talk to his mother. When Boyd was in the forest, a dog approaches him. The dog gets scared and runs. Boyd runs with him and gets lost. At night, he wanders in the forest looking for a way back. He hears the screams of monsters. Not knowing what to do, he falls into a small cave. The monsters approach, but do not go inside, and in this cave, Boyd finds amulets. In the morning, when Boyd returns back, he hears shots. Boyd sees that Abby is shooting people. She has gone crazy. She thinks that everyone is sleeping, and if you shoot them, they will all wake up. Boyd wants to persuade Abby, but from behind he runs to his mother Ellis. She wants to shoot, and Boyd prevents her from leaving. Therefore, Ellis does not eat with his father and avoids him. Boyd goes down to the basement of the church when Sarah will be scared to death to see him. She thinks that he will kill her, But Boyd explains to her that he gave his word to Father Guthrie. He takes her and leaves her in a small hut in the forest and himself returns to the town to take his things. He collects his things and says goodbye to everyone and his son. Alice tells his father that he loves him and doesn't blame him for what happened. Jim and Jade have their own plans. They want to install a tower on the roof of the colony's house. They ask everyone for help, and people who are able to help go to the construction of the tower. Boyd takes Sarah and they begin to walk through the forest. Boyd stops to spend the night in a cave where he found talismans. In the morning, they continue their journey. Boyd leaves marks in the trees to find the way back. Suddenly, they hear the sounds of glass go where the sound comes from, see that there are bottles hanging on the tree. Boyd wants to take one of the bottles to see what's inside. At this moment, Sarah begins to have an attack again. And Sarah comes to see that they are in a tent, and Boyd was able to take one of the bottles, but there is nothing really written inside. Sarah begins to say that the voices are warning her something is wrong. They shouldn't have gone there. At that moment, they hear a loud sound and someone starts dragging their tent. Meanwhile, Jade and Jim are racking their brains to find a power source for the tower. Jade finds a solution. You just need to connect the cables to the lamps. Everyone gets involved. They need even more cable to work. That morning, Boyd and Sarah leave the tent to find out where they are. They see webs everywhere. Boyd hears some voices and sees his late wife. She grabs Boyd. Frightened Boyd pushes away and accidentally steps on a poke's nest. The pokes bite Boyd, but with the help of Sari, he throws the pokes away from him. Everyone is impatiently waiting for the receiver to be turned on. Everything is ready. Jim starts sending a message across all channels, and someone answers. He says about Tabitha that she shouldn't have dug the hole. Jim quickly runs home and sees a large hole there. Kaba falls, and there are tables there. They are just hanging. Victor comes out of the darkness and takes Tabitha away. A storm begins. Boyd and Sarah are looking for somewhere to hide. Boyd has a hard time walking. The spider bites take effect and he weakens. Sarah pushes Boyd into a tree. Boyd gets stuck. Thank you for watching. If this video gets 5,000 views and likes, I will make part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and like